because I struggled with that name for quite some time. As a matter of fact, up until I was 10 years old, I struggled with the name Duquesa. Like, who names their child Duquesa, right? But it wasn't until I came into adulthood that I studied the meaning of my name, and I absolutely fell in love with it. You see, my name means Duchess, which means that you're in the presence of royalty, but it doesn't mean that you need to stand. Are there any dreamers in the room today? Are they dreamers? Yes. What were some of the things that you dreamt about?
Money.
Money? What about you? Success? Anything else?
Good job.
A good job?
Future.
A future? Okay. Well, I remember vividly when I was 8 years old. I had dreams. As a matter of fact, I would sneak outside of my grandmother's home and sit on the back stairs where I would stare in the skies and see the stars. And it was in that exact spot that my dreams started. Now, you may have heard my story if you were at the last Success Summit, where I spoke about the fact that at the age of 30, I sat down on my bathroom floor with a gallon of juice and a container of tablets ready to tap up on life. I want to take you back 5 years prior though. I want to take you to the age of 25, where I remember driving my car, my very first car, from my marital home to my mom's house in Chippingham. I drove the car, parked it in her yard, walked up the stairs with my 2 children, and proceeded to lay in my mother's bed. I stayed in that bed for 5 long days. And as I lay in the bed, glancing up at the ceiling, my mind was completely blank. When you hear that there is a thin line between sanity and insanity, believe it. But because it was during those 5 days that I struggled to maintain sanity. You see, as I laid in the bed, just staring up at the ceiling, I started to think about the experiences that caused me to be unhealthy mentally. I thought about the broken friendships, poor choices that I had made in friendships. I thought about the unfulfilling careers, just jobs that I sat on for money to pay bills or to party. I started to think about the unfulfilling marriage that I was locked in to a man who saw it fit to beat me every Sunday. And as I lay in that bed staring up at the ceiling, I had one question. And that question I asked was why? I asked why. And the day after I asked why, a guardian angel showed up and sat on my bed. And she whispered to me that she had a message from God. And the message she had for me was that all things would work together for my good because I was called according to God's purpose. And so today I stand here proud to be the business owner of not 1, not 2, not 3, and even not 4, but 5 successful companies. I stand here today as a confident woman, willing to take chances, to take risk, to go against the grain, to make decisions that will make ordinary people uncomfortable, because I am no ordinary being. How did I get to this place, you may ask? And I'm so glad that you did. You see, as I sat in my mother's bed laying down, I tried to figure out how could I get out of the darkness and back into the light? And for 5 long years, I travailed with that, to the point where I finally gave up and just sat on my bathroom floor, ready to tap out on life. But 2 things anchored me: my 2 children, and the fact that God showed up in the moment that I was about to take my life. And coming out of that experience, where I sat down contemplating taking my life, 2 days afterwards, my mentor arrived. You see, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And my mentor appeared. And for 10 years, my mentor helped me to come out of that darkness. And my mentor took me to a certain point. And here are some things my mentor taught me. The first thing was I shouldn't be a victim. We fall into victimhood so easy. Who did what to us? My teacher, my parents, my father wasn't in my life. I grew up in a single family home. People on my jobs don't like me. But my mentor challenged me to step out of victimhood and to take responsibility for the decisions that I made with my life, and to take responsibility for being accountable to the gifts that God had deposited inside of me. So as we look at coming out of the darkness, the first thing we have to do is come out of victimhood. Nothing is happening to us that we don't allow. And it's our responsibility to be accountable to ourselves and to drop people who don't mean us good, to level up our skill sets and our talents, to recognize our purpose and our potential. And once we do that, it's now time for us to create a plan. Now, my mentor helped me really well for 10 years. And after the 10 years, my mentor kind of said, go your way. And I got far, but not far enough. And that's when I realized I needed help. Because I was out of the darkness, but I was not into my greatness. And this is when I hired my very first coach. And this coach, when she told me her rate, I almost flatlined. I paid this amazing woman $3,500 for 1 hour of her time. But I can tell you that in that 1 hour that I spent with the great Lisa Nichols, my life completely elevated. Because this coach deposited in me 20 years of her coaching experience, 20 years of her mentoring experience, 20 years of her success plan. And she said something really amazing to me during our coaching period. She did end up giving me 3 hours, even though I paid for 1. She said, Duquesa, I am going to give you every secret of my success. And here's why I'm going to give that to you. Very few people take action. They attend seminars, they watch YouTube videos, they research and find information, but they do nothing. So I've shared my secrets with thousands of people, and only 5% of them have taken action. To come out of a dark place to achieve success requires us to create a plan that incorporates the vision that God has for our lives, not the vision we have for our lives. Because you see, inside of each of us, God has planted a seed of our purpose and our potential. And our experiences, no matter how broken they are, no matter how desolate they make us, no matter how hard they make us cry, no matter how it seems as if we just can't get over the top, every single one of those experiences have been designed to help us live out the purpose that God has designed for our lives. So we have to create that plan. The plan that incorporates the vision and the mission that our life was designed for. We have to know what our core values are. And Ian touched it briefly in his presentation. Our core values are the things that people see in us that are non-negotiable. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone known as a person of integrity, who's personable, who's consistent, who's a dream chaser, who takes action, who is resilient? What are the core values that you want to live out? Because until we identify them, we cannot take action on them. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to be consistent. You see, this is a challenge we have. We like things rather quickly. As a matter of fact, we want to go to sleep and wake up rich the next morning. We want that microwave approach. And when it comes to becoming successful in life and overcoming our challenges, it requires that we show up consistently. That we believe in ourselves so much that when people do not believe in us, we still chase our dreams. When the naysayers look at us and say, who does she think she is? We can look back and say that I am a woman of God, purposed by God to live His plan for my life, to transform other lives. Because my report is to the good Lord. And so we have to be consistent and keep our eyes focused on the purpose that God has placed inside of us. And finally, I want to encourage you to become resilient. Because life happens. And we're on mountaintops, and then we sit in these deep valleys. And when we are in these deep valleys, we start to think about why it's happening to us. What could I have done differently? How could I have changed it? And I want to encourage you today that as you sit or stoop in your valley, to find the lesson. What is this experience teaching me? What do I need to walk away from this experience with? How do I take that information to make my future better? And then you stand up with the lesson and incorporate the lesson into your life so that you don't make the same mistakes, but that you know how to tweak your plan moving forward. You see, success is very possible. Success is very possible. And about 2 years ago, when I left my good corporate job, yes, paying me just about $6,000 a month, just about. People said, she just lost her mind. Her mommy died. She gone crazy. Did she get an inheritance? I didn't, by the way. But people were like, this girl is just gone insane. But the reality is, this girl was just on fire. And she was tired showing up on a job that was sucking the life out of her. She was tired showing up in an environment that stifled her creativity. She was tired being paid by someone a fraction of what she makes for herself. And she decided to take control over her life and to make her failure stepping stones to her success. It is possible, my friends. We just have to believe and take action. Your dreams are waiting for you. Take action.